Today we are going to tackle curriculum frameworks. What is a curriculum framework and what is its use or role in the educational system? I am tasked to explain or give my own perspectives on three subject curriculum frameworks, and we'll see how it goes. The first curriculum framework is the Math Curriculum Framework based on the K-12 Curriculum Guide. So as we can see in this framework, that there is 5 subcomponents, which are content, skills and processes, context, mathematical tools, values and attitude. Within the circle, we can see that there are also the next components: discovery and inquiry based learning, experiential and situated learning, cooperating learning or cooperative learning, reflective learning, and constructivism. And its main goal within that is based on the STAR. The two main objectives of these curriculum frameworks is critical thinking and problem solving. So let us discuss what is critical thinking. According to Scriven and Paul of 1987, it is the intellectual discipline process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, and synthesizing and or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief and action. So critical thinking is like constructivism, wherein you use your past learnings as a guide to think of a solution to solve a problem. It is necessary that a learner or a young learner should be able to critically think before they do an action, because it is essential in this decision making. On the other hand, according to Polya of 1945 and 1962, mathematical problem solving, the other objective of math curriculum framework, mathematical problem solving is finding a way around a difficulty, around an obstacle, and finding a solution out to a problem that is unknown. So basically, math is all about solving problems and analyzing the details, wherein you need to find or think of a solution to solve a problem. These two goals are to be achieved with an organized and rigorous curriculum content, a well-defined set of high-level skills and processes, desirable values and attitudes, and appropriate tools, taking into account the different context for the Filipino learners. So, this framework is giving an emphasis that critical thinking and problem solving is necessary and needed to be taken in account for Filipino learners. So let us delve next to the components of this framework. The content, which we can see at the as a sub component of the framework, is the contents of mathematics include. So what does this subject include? It includes numbers, number sense, measurement, geometry, patterns, and algebra, and statistics and probability. Next, context. Context is we define it as a locale situation or a set of conditions that learners may influence that it may influence the learner's study and the use of mathematics to develop critical thinking and problem solving skills. So basically, context is used where is the learner learning. So the language, where does he live, it all has a great contribution for the learner of how they are going to learn. Next is skill and processes. The special skills and processes to be developed are knowing and understanding, estimating, computing, solving, visualizing and modeling, representing and communicating, conjecturing, reasoning, proving, and decision making, and applying, connecting. So, a learner should learn these skills because mathematics is a kind of subject wherein the learner is more inclined to maximize the process of his brain so that he can be more of a critical thinker and always think out of the box to find or think of a solution in solving a problem and or applying it in his daily life. Next are mathematical tools. So mathematical tools that are used in learning math. Of course, there are necessary tools in teaching mathematics. These include manipulative objects such as it can be a box wherein you need to put in the signs or labels for the numbers, measuring devices, calculators, and computers, smartphones, tablets, PCs, and the internet. So, the 21st century is a really convenient time wherein the learner can conveniently learn while using mathematical tools. Values and attitude. The following values and attitude are to be honed as well. So the learners must hone these attitudes. They are needed to be accurate. They are needed to be creative. They are needed to be objective, and they are needed to have perseverance and productivity. Now we are moving on to the inner components of the framework. The discovery and inquiry-based learning, wherein Brunner of 1961 supports the idea that students learn when they make use of personal experiences to discover facts, relationships, and concepts. So, in this part, Brunner, in the inquiry-based learning, young learners tend to ask questions to adults. So, we're in this context, a learner should make use of their personal experiences, or they will make use of their personal experiences, or wherein they construct their past learnings or past experiences to learn new things, concepts, and ideas. The next one is experiential and situated learning. Experiential learning, as advocated by David Kolb, is learning that occurs by making sense of direct everyday experiences. Experiential learning theory defines learning as the process of whereby knowledge is created through transformation of experience. Knowledge results from the combination of grasping and transforming experience. So, young learners, from infancy to childhood, or adulthood, they are accumulating experiences from their daily lives, and these experiences are being constructed into ideas wherein they may apply it in their daily lives. These experiences are contributed to their skills, to their understanding. So David Kolb is pertaining that a learner, in this context in mathematical learning, that not only does the subject or the learning should be on a test, but it is also a process wherein their knowledge that they have been accumulated can be applied to the problems in real life, and this can be used and implemented and can affect their decision making, wherein we are focused. Of course, this subject is focused on the objectives of critical thinking and problem solving. So David Kolb is pertaining that a learner accumulating such experiences can use this type of experiences to implement it or apply it in his life. So this is called experiential and situated learning. This is an additional wherein a learner solving a problem is expected to know what are the things that he should do, so that he needs to think out of the box, and this is challenging him or her to think and find a solution, so that he can apply it. For example, in mathematics, here in mathematics, this subject, in addition, you add and you combine the numbers. So this can be applied in money managing, in your financial life. So that is wherein this experiential and situated learning comes in. Next is reflective learning. Reflective learning refers to learning that is facilitated by reflective thinking. It is not enough that learners encounter real-life situations. Deeper learning occurs when learners are able to think about their experiences and process these, allowing them to the opportunity to make sense and derive meaning from their experiences. So the learners are not to only learn about the subject. This subject is preparing the learner to facilitate his mind into reflective thinking. And with reflective thinking, with the process of it allows them to find meaning in what they do. So not only mathematics is about the numbers, but it is also about challenging your mind and preparing your mind for your future adventures, of course. Or the things that you will do in the future. Because a person or an individual needs to reflect on his actions or his decisions before applying it or doing it. On to the next one, constructivism. Constructivism is a theory that argues that knowledge is constructed when the learner is able to draw ideas from his or her own experiences and connect them to new ideas. So, as I have said before, constructivism is wherein a learner with past experiences from his childhood can construct or can combine his learnings or experiences and apply it or implement it to their own decision making. They can also come up with new ideas that will help them in their life. Next is cooperative learning. This is the last one. Cooperative learning puts premium on active learning achieved by working with fellow learners as they all engage in a shared task. The mathematics curriculum allows for students to learn by asking relevant questions and discovering new ideas. So in mathematics, in this subject, a teacher or an instructor can 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 make a game that wherein the learners can interact with each other. For example, the young learners in the kindergarten need to place the blocks that fit through the hole, or to the wall, which has the exact hole, which has the exact shape. So we're in this, the learners are interacting with each other and asking each other which is the applicable shape for the whole. So that is where cooperative learning takes place. Or they can also help each other in solving problems or computing mathematical problems, numerical problems, etc. So that's all for the mathematical curriculum framework, or the math curriculum framework. That is my perspective on that subject. On to the next subject, the physical education. As we can see on the screen, this is the curriculum framework of this subject. So what does the physical education aim for? So there is this term called physical literacy, which we can see here in the framework. Physical literacy consists of movement, motor and activity specific skills. In early grade, the learners are taught what, why, and how of the movement. This progress to an understanding of why of the movement, which is achieved by developing more mature movement patterns and motor skills in a wide variety of exercises, sports, dance activities to specifically enhance the fitness parameters. So in physical literacy, we teach the learners of how to harness, or to educate them about the movement, to make more mature movement patterns. So this is done by, for example, teaching learners how to hold the ball, how to kick a ball, or how to run, or how to play sports, or how to swim, which this is specifically aims to enhance the fine and gross muscle movement of the learner. The learner builds on this knowledge and skills in order to plan, set goals, and monitor their participation in physical activities such as exercising, sports, and dance. And they are needed to constantly evaluate how well they have to integrate this into their personal life. This implies the provision of ongoing developmentally appropriate activities so that the learner can practice, create, apply, and evaluate the knowledge, understanding, and skills necessary to maintain and enhance their own as well as others' fitness and health through the participation of physical activities. So one of its aims, physical education aims to help the learners maintain their fitness and health. So as I can remember when I was in grade 2, our physical education activity would always be running, because my teacher believed that running is the best for a young learner to enhance or harness the muscles of our feet, legs, and thighs. So we would always run around the circle or the park of our school. So, in physical education, such basic knowledges on sports, dance, and some exercises are taught to young learners because it is necessary for them to know such things. It is necessary to educate them for them to realize that they can do so much more than just walk around, and they can apply or find their passion in sports or dance or other physical activities. This curriculum also allows for an inclusive approach that understands and respects the diverse range of learners. Thus, the program takes into account their needs, strengths, and abilities. This is to ensure that all learners have equivalent opportunities and choices in the physical education. So, some of the learners may be strong, physically active, healthy, and some of the other learners can be sickly, they are just not motivated to move around. So, in physical education, it is aimed that the learners should be given challenging yet equal opportunities or activities that everyone can do. The curriculum emphasizes knowing what, how, and why of the movement, and it focuses on developing the learner's understanding of how the body responds, adjusts, and adapts to physical activities. This will equip the learner to become self-regulated and self-directed. As a result, knowing that what should be done and actually doing it. So the young learner is taught to be more active, and they are taught to know what they are supposed to do or how to do it. For example, in swimming or running, they are taught the positive or the techniques rather of doing it properly. So it is needed to be instructed. The learners need to be instructed so that the learners can be equally confident in influencing their peers, families, immediate community, and ultimately their classmates to do such activities. These are all valuable 21st century skills which K-12 PE curriculum aspires the learners to develop. So, as we can tell, this program has 5 learning strands, which is not included in the framework. So, I'm just gonna add this here. So, the first of the 5 learning strands of physical education is body management, which it includes body awareness, space awareness, qualities and relationships of movements, and how these are used dynamically in various physical activities. So learners are taught to be aware of how their movements are going to be. So there are movements, for example, in playing sports like volleyball, which are specifically used so that as a learner or as a player should not hurt yourself. So it is necessary that such body management is taught to young learners to maximize also, of course, their physical movement. Next is movement skills. It is related to the fundamental movement patterns and motor skills that form the basis of all physical activities. Next is games and sports, consisting of simple lead-up indigenous games as well as individual, dual, team sports, and in competitive and recreational settings. So, in the physical education setting, in this subject, learners are taught to play sports, to they are taught to dance, they are taught different types of dances, they are taught to play with others, recreational and interactive play with others, with the sports and all. And last, the fifth learning strand is the physical fitness, which includes assessment through fitness tests, records, interpreting, planning, and implementing appropriate programs that support fitness and health goals. So in physical fitness, I remember when I was in the elementary grade, uh, every quarter we would be always weighed and our height be measured because it is necessary for us. It is necessary for our teachers to know what is our health is our health, and because of that, it is necessary to assess a learner before going to a physical activity. So when the physicality of the learner is assessed, the appropriate programs is implemented for the learners. So there is no such unfair or unequal activity that a learner can't do, or impossible activity that a learner can't do. The acquisition of the physical literacy serves as the foundation for a lifelong physical activity participation, which is critical to maintaining and promoting health. Thus, health strand in the senior high school is seamlessly integrated in the PE curriculum. This strand optimizes the learner's potential for health and well-being and contributes to building healthy, active communities. Now, after we have tackled the physical education, we are now moving on to the English curriculum framework. So as we can see on the screen, there are 5 components in the outer circle, which are composing the English curriculum framework. So for an effective language acquisition and learning to take place, language teachers, or us teachers, must be guided by the 6 language teaching principles. These principles explain the natural process of the language development. The first is the spiral progression, wherein the skills, the grammatical items, the structures, and the various types of text will be taught, revised, and revisited at increasing levels of difficulty and of sophistication. This will allow students to progress from the foundational level to higher levels of language use. So learners needed to be taught such skills in grammar, skills in constructing words and sentences, phrases, to increase the levels of their learning. This is done to challenge the learner by different levels of difficulty and sophistication. The second one is interaction. Language learning will be situated in the context of communication, oral and written. Activities that simulate real-life situations from varying language demands, such as purposes, topics, and audiences will be employed to help students interact with others, thereby improve their social skills. So learners are needed to interact with other people or other learners. Interaction is needed not only in oral or written, not only in oral but also in written form. Such activities stimulate the development of the language learning demands for a learner, which improve their socialization and their interaction or communication skills with others. which improves their language development or language learning process. Number 3 is integration. The areas of language learning, the receptive skills, the productive skills, and the grammar and vocabulary will be taught in an integrated way, together with the use of relevant print and non-print resources to provide multiple perspectives, meaningful connections. Integration may come in different types, either implicitly or explicitly, such as skills, content, theme, topic, values, and integration. In this context, integration, the learner is learning through different types of applied knowledges and ideas. Through integration, the learners are experiencing different types of means to develop their learning of language. For example, the learners can listen to music, the learners can watch a film, the learners can read a book. There are so many ways to improve the learning of a learner through integration. The language learning of a learner through integration. Number 4, learner-centeredness. Learners are the center of the teaching learning process. The teaching will be differentiated according to the student's needs, abilities, and interests. So, that in the K-12 or in the K-12 curriculum, it is the learner-centeredness that is necessary. We will these focuses on the ability of the learner and what is needed to be improved and what is needed to be honed. Effective pedagogies will be used to engage them and to strengthen their language development. Number 5, contextualization. Learning tasks and activities will be designed for learners to acquire the language in authentic and meaningful context for use. For example, lessons will be planned around the learning outcomes. A theme, a type of text will help the learners to use related language skills, grammatical items, structures, and vocabulary appropriately in spoken and written language to suit the purpose of or audience or context or culture. The learning points will be reinforced, explicit instruction, and related to follow-up practice. In contextualization, a learner's learning is designed for them wherein in the context wherein the learner is based. For example, I am based here in Pagbilao. The language is Tagalog, the Filipino language, Tagalog, wherein as a learner, I will learn by learning first my mother tongue. This will help me to use my related language skills to improve my learning. With the use of constructivism, the learning points will be reinforced. And as a learner, as for the learner, the teacher will use this type of context or background of the learner or his learning background to plan such techniques to improve or to teach the learner the needed or necessary means for learning a new language or a language. Number 6, construction. Making meaning is the heart of language learning and use. Learning tasks and activities will be designed for the learners in such a way that they will have time to reflect and respond to ideas and information. Learners will be able to have provided with sufficient scaffolding so that they will be able to reach their full cognitive, affective, and psychomotor potentials and become independent learners who are good consumers and constructors of meaning. So in construction, the learners are tasked or is expected to reflect on their learnings and to respond to ideas and informations. the learners will also, for example, the learners are sitting in their classroom. The teacher will provide, for example, a story and read it to them, and they, after the story, that teacher will ask the learners if the some questions regarding about the story to to know if the learners have comprehended the story, if they have learned something or not. So it is necessary for the learners to develop their full cognitive and effective and psychomotor potentials and become an independent learner. So at the least in this curriculum framework for English, it is necessary to understand the cultures behind in learning new languages. Learning language through text types and literacy appreciation expose learners to different cultures of the world, including one's culture. Learners develop socio-linguistic and socio-cultural understandings and apply them to their use of the language, such as mother tongue, Filipino, and English. Learners also need to understand the language. Learners need to implement or apply their knowledge to the system of the language to assist them in making meaning and creating meaning. So learners need to know how to use letters, how to construct words, how to construct sentences, phrase, and they needed to comprehend the words that they are using to make new meaning or create new meaning. And last, learners need to process and to process their learning with new strategies. Learners select from the repertoire of processes and strategies by reflecting on their understanding of the way language works for a variety of purpose in the range of contexts. Learners needed to processes. Learners need to reflect, and such processes takes time, and there are certain objectives that are needed to be achieved in order to claim or achieve the expected learning outcome. So it is necessary that learning it can be repetitive, but it is necessary, and the reflection of the learner on learning a subject is essential in their learning. So today, we have discussed, I have tackled, I have given my own perspectives in these three subjects curriculum frameworks, which are math, physical education, and English. And now, I thank you for listening, and I hope that my own perspective or own opinions of these subjects curriculum frameworks is helpful, and thank you.